Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Flagburg deck profile for April 2025. Wanted to update the Flagburg deck. This is definitely one of the most overlooked decks for Cardfight Vanguard standard format. Not getting any new retrains, any new additional, grade 3 forms. It's definitely gotten a good amount of support since we've had new support in Omniscient Awakening, the 5th set for this deck. So we've had the support for our original Vanguard. We just haven't had any new variants to, change up the deck. Getting new support for decks like Eugene. We've had different forms of Greedon being in the same booster set. We've had mask forms for Gravidia, but up until now, we still have the flagship dragon, Flagburg Dragon, as our go-to Vanguard for the deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, we have the standard energy generator with our grade 0 being Officer Cadet Chericles. When rode upon, if you won second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Inroad Shooter. When rode upon by Ascendance Assault, you can call this card to Rearguard, and it's the only copy in our deck. So for the Rearguard ability, if your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, or Ascendance Assault, it gets Intercept and plus 2,000 power. So you have an Interceptor on the Rearguard, and it's also a Rearguard that you're able to call out thanks to just the setup of the ride deck. Our grade 2 is the Ascendance Assault. You may reveal a Flagship Dragon or a Inroad Shooter in your hand for the cost of this unit. When this unit is rode upon, you can Soul Blast 1. Other than this card, call this card to Rearguard. And when your other Rearguard with its attack, Vanguard, if your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, counter +1, and stand this unit. So the big play is just how many attacks you can do with your Rearguards to build up your Vanguard. So having a Rearguard that not only you can call out just by revealing Flagburg in your hand, but having a restand option as well, definitely does come in handy for those multiple attacks. With our grade 3 for the ride deck being Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, along with the copy we run in the ride deck. We also run 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. Just for the Persona Ride power, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, counter +1, perform all the following according to the number of attacks you made this turn. If it's 3 or more attacks, you draw a card. If it's 4 or more attacks, your opponent chooses 2 Rearguards and retires them. If it's 5 or more until the end of that battle, this unit gets plus 10,000. And when your opponent will call cards from their hand to the guard circle, they must call 3 or more at the same time. So making your opponent waste, their resources for this unit is a big play of what the Flagburg deck is meant to do. So the more attacks we do, the better. You just want to hit for those 5 attacks before your Vanguard attacks as the final attack to follow through with. We're also running for the grade 2s, our new card from set 5 being Giant Sea Dragon, Boat Pelagic Dragon. When it's placed on Rearguard from hand, you may soul charge 1, and on Rearguard once per turn at the end of the battle, you attack the Vanguard. If it was the first or second battle of this turn, and you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Flagburg and its card name, counter +1, or Energy Blast 3, stand this unit and it gets plus 10 until end of turn. Just another easy use of restanding Rearguards, and this one being especially useful for the use of the Energy Blast ability in the deck, which we run some other units as well that definitely do help with the Energy Blasts that wasn't really made aware for when this deck originally made, but definitely useful now that we have it as that additional resource to go for. We're also running 2 copies of Empyrean Blue Dragon, Shelling Cannon Dragon from the back row center Rearguard at the beginning of your battle phase. If your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counter +1. To the end of this turn, this unit can attack from the back row and get plus 10,000 power. So making use of the middle back row Rearguard, it can just be that additional attack. And from the back row center, if you would move or swap this unit during your main phase, you can also move it within the same row. So being able just to move this card out of the back row center Rearguard when we need be for another Rearguard definitely does help as well. And for the last of the grade 3s, 4 copies of Inlet Pulse Dragon. At the end of the battle, you attacked a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If it's the first battle of this turn and your Vanguard's Flagship Dragon, Flagburg Dragon, you can Soul Blast 1 and stand this unit. So just another easy restand resource, because also then on Rearguard at the end of your turn, if the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more, put it into the Soul and draw a card, giving you Soul build-up power for some of our other units, and just that additional draw to make up for the unit that we placed into the Soul. For the grade 2s, we actually run 1 grade 2 in the deck since we have a big focus on the grade 3s we run for the added restand power, that being the 4 copies of Tier Knight Eric's. The end of the battle, you attack the Vanguard if it is the second battle this turn, and you have a stood Vanguard with Flagburg and its card name, Soul Blast 1, stand this unit, and it gets +5 till the end of that turn. So just having all the soul build-up power we mentioned before with Inlet Pulse and our Boat Pelagic Dragon, we have just an easy restand with a Soul Blast 1 for Tier Knight Eric's being able to restand, and the pressure will come down to not only the Flagburg attack, but the restanding Rearguards that we also have to make use of in the deck also. For the grade 1s, we're running 3 copies of Battle Siren Eleftheria. This is a card that was released during Illusionless Strife. When placed on Rearguard from hand, you can energy charge 2, building up our energy charge all the faster for us to use. And at the beginning of your battle phase, you have a grade 3 Tier Dragon Vanguard, Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your units and it gets Vanguard or Rearguard. When this unit attacks, this unit gets +5 until the end of turn, So just giving you an additional +5 option for the unit that you want for that option. You only have to have a grade 3 or greater Tier Dragon Vanguard to be able to use it, but you can be able to choose that additional card on the field for that additional power, regardless of the fact if that card is a Tier Dragon or not. And I also do really like the energy charge 2 option of this card as well. Other grade 1s include the 4 copies of Tier Knight Arianth. If you have a Vanguard once per turn with Flagburg and its card name, counter +1, discard a card from your hand, choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop, call to Rearguard, and it gets +5 until end of turn. So, making up for some of the Soul Blasts we may have done with our Inlet Pulse, being able to use Arianth to call back these cards to use as a potential Rearguard attacking power makes it a definite 4 of, since it's just a once per turn to do so. The 3 copies of Wave Crest Brave Shooter. When this unit is placed on Rearguard, counter +1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 card with Flagburg and its card name, or up to 1 Ascendance Assault from among them. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle the deck. If you did not reveal a card, countercharge 1. And at the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If it's the 4th battle of that turn or more, you may put it into the soul. More soul build-up power, but just being able to search out our Vanguard, because let's say the Persona Ride is a big part of this card, because then with the 5th attack or more for your attacks, you have the 33k power of our Vanguard, which is all the more difficult for our opponent to potentially guard, and need those 3 cards to do so. And then also the 4 copies of Prized Trident, one of the older cards in the deck, but definitely useful when your other unit attacks. If it's the 5th battle this turn, put it in the soul and countercharge 1. So you will counterblast a lot in this deck, whether it be with cards like Wave Crest Brave Shooter, or our Tier Knight Arianth, or Flagburg itself. You need countercharge power, and that's where this card comes in handy, and also provides soul buildup also. And then lastly, for the grade 1s, the 4 Sentinels, being our 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude, and the 3 copies of Custodial Dragon for the lineup. And then our Elementaria Sanctitude for the additional Regalis piece, 1 copy of Gradius Cordell to make up for the 3 Flagburg, obviously, but just an additional Persona Ride option in the deck to give strength to our Vanguard. With the trigger lineup, we're going with 7 critical, so the 3 copies of Abyss Temptation, and I have Tier Knight Costas in the deck. I just find it very, very fitting for the actual trigger aesthetic in the deck. The same with the next draw spot. If you want to run Serene Maiden Lena, you can, but I have the Scattered Strike Brave Shooters in here, because once again, they fit the theme for Flagburg. And the same with our heals, the 4 copies of Battle Siren Dorcia. And the overtrigger for the deck is Valnut. I really like this card for the choose one of your Rearguards, or stood Rearguards, and it gets on Rearguard once per turn. At the end of battle attacked, stand this unit until the end of the turn. If you do not choose a card, draw a card, choose up to 1 card from your hand, and call to Rearguard. So if you have all your Rearguards at rest, you'll at least be able to use Valnut to call out a Rearguard onto the field. If you still have 1 additional standing Rearguard with the Flagburg setup, it'll have another re-standing power to do so. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. As I said before, this is definitely an overlooked deck. Not really for Rearguard support, but just for the main Vanguard focus of the deck. So hopefully one day we will see some updated, Vanguard power for Flagburg itself as well. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.